Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. This is your good friend, Eric Thompson. I am here with my good friend, Julie Will. Say hi, Julie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for engaging with this podcast as always. So Julie is one of our amazing, fantastic ninja coaches. And so Julie, just thank you so much for being our guest today. We appreciate it.
I'm appreciative of the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So guys, here's the theme of today. This is going to be your immediate go-to, easy win, start doing list and stop doing list. That's what you're going to get out of today. Julie is going to coach you based on what she sees from her current clients, what's working, what they're not doing, so that you can have a start doing list and a stop doing list. Before we get to that, Julie, we thought it would be fun if I asked you to share your ninja story. So what is your ninja story?
All right. Well, my ninja story starts in the end of 2016. I had been in the business for about 2 years, working nights, working weekends, not a lot of time off, and it was burning me out. I just wasn't happy. I happened to do a transaction with a gentleman from a firm, and it was so wonderful. He was professional. Everything was fantastic. And I just happened to ask him, what do you think of your firm? Right? I knew I wanted to make a change because I knew that where I was didn't fit my personality. It was all transaction, not relational. So fast forward, he introduced me to the broker in charge, and I signed on with the firm immediately, Helen Adams Realty. When I went to interview with them and I explained to them the kind of business I wanted to build, which is I'm a relationship person. I want to give to my people and I want to nurture them. They immediately told me I was in the right place because they had something called the Ninja Selling System.
Yeah, they're a ninja company.
They absolutely are. And so I was intrigued. That was like November of 2016. I was in an installation in January of 2017.
Fantastic.
I got to take it with the amazing Larry Kendall and immediately knew that I had found the system that I was supposed to be doing the entire time, right? I think a lot of people have that feeling when you read the book or you're introduced. You were a ninja without knowing you were a ninja. Now I needed to figure out how to actually implement it into my business. So I spent the week here, and my biggest takeaway was when Larry talked about increasing your price per hour so that you could work less and have the life that you wanted. That has stuck with me from that day moving forward. I made it my goal to increase that price per hour, right? Surrounding myself with people, not just the amazing people within my firm, but the people in my firm that were doing the business I wanted to be doing. They were at the level that I wanted to be. So I made sure to surround myself with them because I needed to be where I wanted to go. And based on that, I was able to increase my price per hour. I work significantly less. I was going from having to do 15 to 20 transactions a year to make the money I wanted to I only have to do 5 or 6. And I still make the same income, which means I have a tremendous work-life balance.
Beautiful.
I spend time with my family. I don't work nights and weekends unless there's an appointment. It has completely changed my life.
Incredible. So you set out to increase your income per hour so you could have a life. And it turns out that's what you did. You increased your income per hour. And now you have a life. And now you're showing other people how to do that.
Yes.
Helping other people do that with coaching.
It made such a difference for me that anytime anybody asks for help or wants some advice, like I'm always willing to share what it is that I'm doing that's working for me. I don't see sharing those things as giving away the secret sauce, right? Because if I share that information, then people can also have that kind of life.
Absolutely.
So that was really helpful. And I knew I wanted to share that with even more people. And so I sought out the opportunity to become a coach.
Incredible. Everyone should know who's listening, which is all of you, is that we are recording this as we speak during a ninja installation. So Julie and I are sitting here together in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's lunch break during the installation. That's when we were recording this. So kind of fun. We are very much kind of hopped up on the ninja installation right now as we speak. Okay, so Julie, let's get to it. You coach a lot of people from a lot of different places, all kinds of different great companies from lots of different markets. And so what's interesting is that you get to see firsthand what is working. You're coaching your people up, you're helping them. And so what we want to do is help everyone listening to be able to coach themselves, to be able to be really clear about what they should do and what they should not do. So I asked you ahead of time, for a podcast to think about your coaching clients and to think about, okay, walk us through 3 things that they're doing. And what we'll get to in a minute, 3 things they're not doing. But let's start with what comes up for you. What are 3 actions, 3 mindsets, 3 skill sets? What are 3 specific things that you watch them doing? Those are having the most success.
Okay. So the first one is they show up.
Oh, how about that?
Right?
What a concept.
I know, right?
Rule number 1.
In this business, we don't set a start time, right? We start when the phone rings. Those that are having a lot of success with me, they wake up and they're committed to the butt in the seat at the same time every single day of the week, and they're working on their business.
Got it. Okay. So what's interesting about this is that can look different for every person, right? So show up, everyone's showing up, but some people are showing up, you tell me, to their home office. Some people show up to their company's office. Some people show up to their kitchen table, but they're still showing up no matter what.
Yeah. Where you show up is, in my opinion, a little less important than the fact that you show up. If you are at your home office, you're still working. So what they're doing is they don't just show up, but they're closing the door. They're blocking out the stuff, right? Home office can have a trick to it. You can be distracted by the load of laundry that needs to get done, or the grocery store that you need to run to. This is a business. I am at work. So guess what? Laundry and groceries has to wait, as if I were working a 9-to-5 job and I couldn't do that during my work hours. So my people that are successful are showing up, but they're actually showing up. They're not being distracted. If they're going into their office, they're showing up. And if needed, they put a Post-it up that says, hey, I'm working on my Ninja systems, or I'm working in my business right now, or on it. So I cannot be disturbed, right? They're not allowing the distractions to come in. So showing up means actually showing up, but being intentional behind it.
Being intentional. So there's a time that they show up. There's a place that they show up. They're clear about what they're going to do.
Yes.
You're showing up.
Yep.
Okay. That's first. I love it. That's an easy win. Everyone can show up.
It is.
Okay. What's second?
Second is they are actually time blocking.
They're time blocking.
Yes. So they start their week with a meeting with themselves.
Okay.
And so during that meeting, they reflect on the previous week and they think about the wins. They look at the things that didn't go as they planned and how can they improve on it this week. So as they're doing that exercise, they're looking at what the activities they have for the coming week. And now we're putting those activities on the calendar. So when you're showing up, not only are you showing up, but every day that you show up, you open that planner, whether you put it on your phone or it's a paper planner. When they open it up and they look Monday morning, if they start at 8, from 8 to 8:30, those are my morning gratitudes, right? From 8:30 to 9:30, maybe that's when they are going to be doing customer service calls. Whatever they're putting in that area, in that period on the calendar, they're actually doing the work. So if you time block, not only do you show up, but there's intention and purpose behind being at your desk.
Right.
They're not confused. They're not rummaging through their files or their computer looking for something to do. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. I love that. And that's one thing I love about time blocking is it eliminates all confusion because it's sitting there in your calendar. You know what to do. And so one thing I coach people on, I know you do too, Julie, is to be as specific as you can in the time block about what needs to happen during that time so that when you arrive at that time in your calendar's telling you what you need to do. So if it's real estate reviews that you're going to work on, you want to get specific and write down the names of the people that you're going to do the real estate reviews for. So that way, when you show up to that appointment, you're not wondering, well, who should I do the real estate review for? You've already decided. So do yourself a favor and give yourself instructions. Your future self will thank you.
Exactly. The same thing goes for phone calls, right? If I blocked an hour for phone calls, I can't spend the first 15 minutes of that hour thinking about who I'm calling.
Yeah.
So if you write that down ahead of time, that whole entire hour is spent on the phone calls.
Yeah. Wonderful.
You're not wasting that time. So perfect advice. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, what's third?
They actually stick to the time blocking.
Oh,
right? It's wonderful to show up and it's wonderful to time block, but if you don't actually honor the time block, it's completely useless.
Yeah.
Right. So by that, I mean, yes, the phone rings. Yes, you get emails. Yes, there are text messages. Everything can wait.
Yeah.
And what I encourage them to do is if you have time blocked something, it's an appointment. Your clients, they don't have to know that your appointment is with yourself to do a real estate review, right? That's irrelevant. What's relevant is you have an appointment. That time is important. It's important to your future business. So if you don't honor the time that you have placed on that calendar, think of it as saying no to a potential buyer and seller in the future. What we do now in these ninja activities that we have time blocked on our calendar is where the business in the future comes from. If you put it on the calendar and then dismiss it easily because someone sent you a text message, that means you didn't want that buyer or seller for the future.
Right. And that's such a powerful way to think about that. I love that. And I sometimes get people to think about a time block as a meeting with your future self. You would never blow off a meeting with another person, to exactly what you're saying. And so you can think about that person as you. It's the future version of you who absolutely is really wanting you to make those calls, write those notes, be in flow with people, because you will help out your future self. So you can easily say to someone else, I'm so sorry, I can't do that meeting then, or I can't do that particular thing you want me to do at that time because it turns out I have another meeting. The meeting happens to be with you, but just set that boundary. So you're saying they honor that, and they're really good at setting those boundaries, and they're good at saying no. And really who they're honoring is their future you and their future clients.
Yeah. And one thing that I think has helped a couple of my clients is when we're talking about that. And of course, it's like, yes, I know, but I got that text message. I had to answer them. Well, you didn't, but you chose. It was a decision that you made. I think if we kind of take it back and say, okay, you and I are sitting in a consultation. I am your potential listing. If you get a text message, are you going to stop what you're saying to me and say, excuse me, I have to answer this? And they're like, well, no, I would never do that. I said, think of it as the same way, right? That 1 hour of those phone, that's what that is. That is what it means. And I feel that when you start thinking of it in those terms, it's really easy to ignore the noise.
Yes.
It just makes it a lot easier. And it puts something on the line.
Right.
So it's worked well.
Really good. Okay. So your clients who are having the most success, they're showing up, they're time blocking, and they're actually following through on the time blocking.
Yes.
Those are pretty basic, pretty fundamental, but this stuff works, right? This stuff works, you guys. And so those are all great takeaways. And now next for fun, the question is, so what are they not doing? And so, I think that the obvious answer would be what they're not doing is not showing up. What they're not doing is compromising their time blocking. So yes, but in addition to that, just give us some insights as we look at those people and what are they not doing that maybe other people are doing?
They're definitely not paying attention to the noise, right? And the noise can be any number of things. The NAR settlement, right? Yes, we all had that moment where we chatted about it. We had a tiny little freak out and we figured out this isn't going to impact us. We're ninjas. We have a system. Our system works, right? So they're beyond that. They're not listening to the noise, possibly in the office where there's people that maybe in your office that are living in that scarcity mindset. If people are worried that there's no inventory or they're not getting a deal or the market's going to crash and interest rates are too high, they don't listen to those things because they know that we live in an abundance mindset. And as long as we stick to our activities and nurture our relationship, the business will come.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest things they're not doing is they're just not allowing the outside distractions to interfere with the goals that they've set.
They're not buying in.
They're not.
They're not getting hooked.
Yep.
By the drama, by the noise, by the nonsense. Now they're aware of it. It's not like they're ignoring the NAR settlement or they're ignoring the economy or ignoring the fact that there's an election, but they're not getting wound up in it and caught up in it because, as we all know, what you focus on, what
expands.
Right? What you focus on expands. So that they're being, if I hear right, Julie, they're being really intentional about what they're choosing to focus on. And then kind of by definition, they're then intentional about what they're not focused on.
Correct. I mean, that's kind of it. And I find that if we think we're going into that negative space, we start focusing on the noise. Let's flip it, right? What is the noise that you're hearing? What are the negative things? And how can you be a source of education for the people in your sphere to help bring them down, bring the temperature down, right? If your buyers and sellers are crazy curious about NAR and what this means for them, why are you not ahead of that, right? When you're having your conversations with them, I know that you've heard about this. Can you tell me what you've heard? Do you have any questions? Lean into it and be the source that they can go to get the answers instead of letting them go to Facebook or, their neighbor. If you act as the source, that makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. Fantastic. It's great. So, guys, again, you're going to show up, you're going to time block. you're going to follow through on that and you're not going to get hooked by the noise. And what comes up for me also, Julie, is there's a slide that we've been showing in the Ninja installation with a glass of water. And it's the classic, is the glass of water half full or half empty? And the reality right now is that the transactions are down 30 to 40% compared to where they were. We're selling about 4 million homes a year, not 6 million homes a year. And so the glass, it's about 60 to 70% full, depending on the market. So the coaching is, for all of you listening, and the coaching that happens in the installation is, which part of the glass are you focused on? Are you focused on the empty part or the full part? And if you're focused on the empty part, then that's going to lead you to say things like, well, there's no inventory and interest rates are high and people aren't buying. If you're focused on the other part, you're going to realize there's all kinds of opportunity, right?
Well, and the people that you're interacting with are going to pick up on the negative energy that you're feeling and putting out.
Right. Absolutely.
And who wants to work with somebody that's negative?
Right. Negative people.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right? Negative people.
It's not going to be a good combination.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we are now going to totally shift gears. We're going to give you right now kind of some bonus content, let's call it, Julie, because those are really great takeaways that you shared when just looking at your current clients. What are they doing? What are they not doing? What we're going to talk about in the last few minutes of the podcast, guys, we're going to talk about your warm list. And we're inspired to have this conversation with you because, again, we're sitting here during the Ninja installation. We are just coming out of the content that was taught at the front of the room about a warm list. And so we're going to think about you and your coaching, Julie, your coaching specific to the warm list. And maybe why don't we give just a quick definition of a warm list for those that maybe need a refresher? Can you give us a definition of a warm list?
Yes. Personally, I do not like to tie a time frame to warm list. That's a personal preference. I know that some people have that. If that's how you do it, it's okay. I think with a warm list is when we are having conversations, it's people that are experiencing change in their life, which causes pain. And then it allows us an opportunity to come in and alleviate that pain. Sometimes it'll be somebody on the warm list that actually mentions they want to buy or sell. And of course, those are obvious and we put them on there and we continue to stay in touch. The less obvious are people who are experiencing changes in their lives. And we sometimes assume it's a change. They're not going to do anything for a long time. I'm just going to reach out to them in a couple of months. And what happens? Time frames are arbitrary. Somebody may be experiencing one change and you think it's not a big deal. And then you reach out 2 months later and their house is listed. So it's always just making sure to be mindful of the changes people are experiencing, add them to the warm list.
Got it.
It doesn't cost you anything to write them down.
Doesn't cost anything. A tiny bit of time and energy, but does not cost anything. Okay. So bottom line, it's a list of people experiencing life change and forward. We're seeing that might be causing them pain. Maybe they have expressed interest in doing a transaction in the future, but maybe not. And so I'm going to ask you a question. It's a very leading question. Do you generally find in your coaching that there's a lot of opportunity for a client of yours, a coaching client, to have even more people on the warm list?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of a no-brainer. If you're making your phone calls and you're having your coffees and doing your flow, your 50 live contacts a week, and you're doing forward, there's always opportunity to add someone to the warm list. All you have to do is listen.
Listen and pay attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
As Larry likes to say, your next question is embedded in your previous question. So ask. Don't just do light surface area questions. Dig deep. When we dig deep, that's when we actually start to learn what people are experiencing in their lives.
Okay. Another very leading question about a warm list. Do you generally find with clients, probably new coaching clients of yours, a reluctance to put a name on the warm list because that coaching client of yours is not 100% sure that prospective real estate client will actually do something? So they say, well, gosh, I don't feel right about putting them on a warm list because I really don't know 100% if they will transact or not.
Absolutely. All the time. And in my opinion, the answer to that is put them on anyway, right? It's not necessarily about them going to transact, right? They may not even know it, right? You're just listening for the change. You don't know that they're going to transact, but here's what we do know. They're experiencing something in their life that is causing some kind of upheaval. Maybe it's major, maybe it's minor, but there are things going on. If you put them on the warm list, since we're reviewing our warm list on a very regular basis, that person pops to mind for you more frequently than if you don't write them down. So if you write them down and I've learned something and I'm looking at that name and it's been 2 weeks and I want to call and check in, and I really just want to check in on how they're doing. So if my husband has a job interview and I've shared that with you and you put me on your warm list, I'm going to call in 2 weeks and I'm going to check in to see how did the interview go, right? I don't know much about the job, but then I can ask, where exactly is that located, right? It allows you the opportunity to become more involved in their life. If they have children that, seniors in high school, you can put them on your warm list. They may have 2 other kids behind them. They're not going to be moving, but guess what? You may not have a senior in high school. You are not going through that phase of life, but they are. And as long as you check in with them on a regular basis, they are inviting you in on their journey. So in other words, you're going into their carousel. And if you're on that carousel, as you're staying in touch with, hey, homecoming, prom, college acceptance, you're following them through this journey. They know other parents that are going through that. So while they may not be moving, they may have a friend who it's their last child that's going into their senior year and off to college. Those people are the ones they're talking to. They may be looking to list their home. Who do they think of? They're going to think of you because you have been checking in with them on a regular basis and you have a relationship with them. So it doesn't matter if you think they're going to sell. What matters is the change and then building the relationship. Building that relationship allows you to get to know them. Getting to know them earns the referral.
Beautiful. Awesome. So it's what we call Hyperflow. So when someone's on your warm list, you just go into Hyperflow, always value add. And that's how you uncover opportunity. So good. Julie, so good.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you everyone for listening. So here's what you can do if you are curious about coaching and you want to know how that works. If you want to learn more about coaching with Julie, coaching with one of our other amazing ninja coaches, go to our website, go to ninjaselling.com, and you'll see a tab at the top that leads you to learning more about coaching. We do what's called a complimentary consultation. We'd be happy to help you out, give you some insights on that consultation, and then walk you through how coaching works. So go ahead and do that. And thank you again so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you again, Julie, for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Everyone have a terrific day. We look forward to engaging you in the next podcast. Thanks.
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.